Most of you, I would imagine, have seen the movie Home Alone. About 20-some years ago, that movie came out. Little young fella was left at home while his parents went on vacation, Christmas vacation nonetheless. It was pretty comical. He was defending the house from a bunch of robbers, and through all the kookiness and everything, the family finally realized that he was there, and they returned, and everything was okay. But good movie, good movie. I saw a clip of that this week, and something that just made me remember that sometimes we feel forgotten, don't we? Sometimes we feel alone and lost, and we're just not sure that we're making a difference in life, or that our lives make a difference. And in Robert Fulgham's storybook, All I Really Need to Know Is What I Learned in Kindergarten, he tells this story. Said of a young kid sitting there at the window, and he's watching the other kids out in the playground, and they're playing that infamous game, hide and seek. You've played that before. And we always tried to choose that extra special spot that we wouldn't be found, wouldn't we? Well, this one child did choose such an area, and it was so well masked and so well hidden that it was getting dark, and all the kids left, and nobody came and found him. Imagine that feeling of being left behind, the lost and the lonely. I mean, have you ever felt like that? You ever felt forgotten? Like you just didn't matter? You ever felt like all of your contributions really didn't matter? That no matter what you've done, it went unrecognized and unachieved, and it was a non-achievement. Sometimes in our lives we feel like a spare tire, don't we? I mean, it's there. We know it's there. It has a purpose, but most of the time, it never ever gets used, and it goes on to be forgotten until that critical moment. And that certainly leads to us feeling sad and lonely, much like the people, like God's people during the Babylonian captivity. But God found a way to bring them out and restore them back, and restore that nation once again. So this morning we're going to read from the 126th Psalm. We're going to read all 6 verses. Would you please hear the word of God as it is recorded. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dreamed. Our mouths were filled with laughter, and our tongues with songs of joy. And then it was said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us, and we're filled with his joy. Restore our fortunes, Lord, like streams of Negev. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. And those who go out weeping, carrying seeds to sow, will return with songs of joy, carrying the sheaves with them. The word of God for the people of God. Amen. Thanks be to God. The words of this song speak of happiness. The opening words describes an overwhelming joy of the writer, those that dreamed of that day that they would be returned back to Israel. I mean, have you ever dreamed of doing something? Maybe a trip, maybe a visit, maybe a purchase or something. You ever dreamed about doing something? Have you ever had that dream come true? Because dreams sometimes just seem to fade. And the people of Israel who have been in this captivity period for a long period of time, nearly 50 years, are dreaming of the day that they're able to return back home to Israel, to the promised land. And the Babylonians were very smart about their captivity in the way that they handled that. They didn't take just entire villages to Babylon. They divided families, and they split the families up, and part of them lived in Babylon, part of them remained there in Israel. And it has a very mental effect on you, that separation, that yearning, that lack of peace. So now they're talking about walking with the Lord, and as a result, they're talking about singing songs of joy and praise, even even in our darkest time, and we try to sing those songs of praise to uplift not only the situation, but to uplift our spirit. There's great jubilation as they're saying, the Lord has done great things for them. Has the Lord done great things for you? I hope that you say yes, resoundingly. Hope that you remember that even in your darkest time, that the Lord is with you. The Lord is with us. It's to say, not to say, or it's like that even given the best constructions and the best celebrations that we can have here in life, I think that there's nothing that's going to compare to the joy and the celebration that goes on in heaven. So what great things has God done for us this morning? Well, we too have been captives in a certain respect. Maybe it isn't with Babylonians, maybe it isn't with a foreign country or leadership, but surely our captivity is along the same lines. Maybe we're captive by our own sinful nature, and it drags us down, and that does not bring joy to the Christian. Maybe our captivity is our lives that have been filled with valleys of despair. I was rereading Job the other day, and it's just amazing how Job, even though all that he faced, all the valleys that he was in, and all the loss and the hurt and the turmoil that he experienced, he never lost his faithfulness to God. So there's times that we feel like that people have hurt us, especially the ones that love us. And that captivity brings us loneliness and forgottenness in our lives. When it comes to the captivity of sin in our lives, it's just as profound as a physical captivity. There's no way that a person in sin's bondage can free themselves. They must have help from outside. And that's where God comes in. The captives in Babylon couldn't help themselves. So God freed them and took them home. While in captivity, God was among his people. And he listened to them, and he heard them. He heard their cries. Today, God offers us that freedom from captivity of sin, the destructive inner selves that we can have. And he's come to restore us and make us new. Listen to the closing words of this psalm again, verses 4 through 6. And this is my prayer for you this morning. Restore our fortunes, Lord, like the streams of Reavill. Those who sow with tears shall reap with songs of joy. Those who go out weeping, carrying those seeds to sow, will return with songs of joy, carrying the sheaves in with them. Maybe some of us come to this sanctuary this morning with our hearts heavy and struggling with something. We come here more than just to make an appearance. We come here to lay our burdens before the Lord. I invite you to do so. And I invite you to also remember that even in our darkest hours, even in our biggest struggles, we're not alone. God is with us. Even when we're being held captive in some form of life, and no matter what that looks like. Only he can help us. Trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord. Pray for me this morning as I pray for you, and I pray for one another, that you experience the joy of the Lord in a mighty and powerful way and break free of your bondage. Let's pray. Gracious Father, again, we come giving thanks. We thank you for this day and this time, but we also thank you for the struggles that we've been given, that which tests our strength and our mettle in the crucible of life. Lord, make us new and whole and complete and restore us once again. Let us give thanks in all things. And remember the hopes that is found in your Son, Jesus Christ. That in and through the certain resurrection, that this is not the end. We have something so great to look forward to when we return home, to our heavenly home. But until that day, Lord, as long as the world keeps us captive and beats us down, give us the strength and the courage and the wisdom and the power to carry on. Lord, we ask all of this in your name this morning.